Abhijit Iyer Mitra, when Mr. Riju Datta raises these questions, he forgets that the Mundra port, the first port, was given to the Adani group in the Congress regime in the Narasimha Rao years. And then when he talks about who ordered for investment, maybe he doesn't know that LIC invests in many companies that trade in the stock exchanges, and these companies and their shares go up and down. But the moot question he asks is, why is the government defending and why are they not ordering an inquiry?
I don't know why they're not ordering an inquiry. That's their problem, I guess. But this, this could be like the Rafale. It went right up to the Supreme Court, and what did the Supreme Court end up saying? But let's bring it back to Adani for a second. You see, Sanjay Jha has a point when he says, how did they get the Bombay airport contract all of a sudden like that, as well as management of other airports. Fine. So tell me this, how did GMR get the contract under the Congress for Delhi airport? GMR hadn't entered the airport space till 2003. And suddenly for the Commonwealth Games, they get their thing. In 2005, it was the Congress government that changed the rules that allowed GVK and GMR to apply for that contract. Nobody still knows why that land next to Delhi airport, that AeroCity, was given to them to develop, which they squatted on for 10 years, allowed the rates to appreciate through the roof, then built up infrastructure out there and sold it at fantastic prices to hotels and things like that. We still don't know. Remember, this rule of letting letting people in based on capitalization rather than on experience was brought in by the Congress to enable GMR to get the Delhi airport contract for the Commonwealth Games. So what rule has been changed exactly? I don't understand this. Right. Second, understand what is Adani's USP. India is an extremely regulatory and judicially volatile market. Okay, so what ends up happening is you need people who take a lot of risks, and this has always been Adani's strong point. He goes into markets and projects which require a lot of risk, and he delivers on those projects, and he seems to deliver on them pretty well. Fine. How did he get the project in Israel? I mean, Israel is nobody's this thing. They clearly have very good vetting. Their audit and regulatory systems are fantastic. They've gone and given it to Adani. They didn't see any problem with that. At what point where Adani, you look at all of Adani's acquisition of ports and associated transport and terminal services, all of it happens under the Congress. So they've acquired experience. Giving it to Adani is actually less of a stretch of the imagination than Congress giving the Delhi airport to GMR, which hadn't constructed.
All right, hands are going up on the panel. Dr. Sanjay Jha, would you want to respond first before I get in Riju Datta, who's also raised his hand?
A quick 10-second.
Yeah. Now, number one, based on all everyone's answer is what about me? Nobody's actually answering the allegations made, and that basically establishes guilt. But let me answer Abhijit Iyer Mitra right away.
No,
the issue here is
establishment of guilt. No, sorry, Dr. Sanjay Jha. If you're talking about establishment of guilt, you're talking about the lower courts letting, the 2G scam go. Then before that, it was the Supreme Court that heard the case and cancelled 122 licenses. Now, if there is anything that establishes guilt, it is the Supreme Court's decision to cancel those 122 licenses, which stay cancelled till today, Dr. Sanjay Jha. How about admitting guilt on that one?
Well, Navika, let me just quickly answer you. Let me just quickly answer you. Okay, go ahead.
Clarification.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Sanjay. Thanks, Sanjay. Because see, Sanjay asked the question, why was the rule changed and why was it given to Adani? And he specifically brought up Bombay Airport. I have answered that. I have not sidestepped the question, and I made it very clear that it happened under the Congress in 2005. That is when the rule was changed.
Okay,
so
let me answer you.
Okay.
Abhijit, let me answer you.
Dr.
Let me
Sanjay Jha.
answer you. The larger issue, Navika, here is...
No, don't go to the larger issue. Don't do the whataboutery. He's asked you a pertinent question, direct and pointed. Answer the pointed question. No whataboutery in your own words.
No whataboutery. Tell me one thing, Navika. How is it that this group, and that is where the leverage argument comes in, this group is acquiring assets which most of them capital intensive, have been given to them by government tenders or government tweaking rules, and they get funding to actually acquire those assets. So, he mentioned about 1% of LIC, but he never tells you why not a single private sector mutual fund has invested in the same Adani Group stocks like LIC has. It is a clear case of mandates coming from the government to invest in the Adani Group stocks. And then what happens? There is share price manipulation. Prices go up, and they use that higher share price to pledge their stocks collateral and raise more debt.
Okay.
It is why Hindenburg is correct in saying that there has been rigging of prices and end of day accounting adjustments.
All
and
right.
Mr. Modi's government will have
All
to
right.